Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Bravo Tea with the Stay-at-Home Mom. I'm Erica, and I missed you guys. I'm so sorry I skipped last week. I mean, summer is just coming to an end, and I feel like I'm trying to soak up every minute. I feel like we've been busy trying to do the shore. We had friends down, the school shopping, the back to school shopping. Oh, I live for it. And just getting all their stuff together for school. So soon they will be back at school. And soon I will be redoing my intro and outro, getting that all set up just because I'm going to have time. Guys, I'm going to have so much time. I won't even know what to do with myself. Now, I got a list of things I want to do, but the one thing I had no more time for is the Valley. Thank God we wrapped up this season. And I think 3 parts was a little dramatic. I think we could have got 2 parts to this reunion. I am just literally done with hearing about Danny and the drinking. And I'm not saying they don't have valid points, but I am tired of every episode. That's all we were talking about. We get it. It's done. Please do another storyline, quote unquote, we like to say. Talk about anything. Talk about the weather at this point. And did everybody see how they did Danny dirty? So in the regular Bravo episode, they have Danny answering Andy's question of, did you drink at Jasmine and Melissa's wedding? And he said, no, I did not. And then on the extended, unedited Peacock version, that was his real answer because it went right into it and there was no pause. And he said, did you drink at the wedding? And he said, yes. So they literally edited it to show us on Bravo that he said he didn't drink at the wedding, which then makes him look like he's lying. And I can't believe that. I don't know if the producers don't like him because Sheena used to say she would get a bad edit on Vanderpump. Now, I don't know how true and how not true that is because sometimes it's like Sheena, nobody needed to do anything to make you look bad. Like you were always making everything about yourself. You were always getting in the past into these weird relationships, like buying that guy a penguin, telling us that guy, Rob, could hang the TV in under 7 minutes. And just sometimes you didn't even have to do anything to make yourself look bad. But now I totally fully see how they can edit stuff. Or have you guys ever noticed on the reunions, they'll make it look like someone's making a face at somebody, but that's actually not the time that they're talking about that. They're just using clips to make it more dramatic, the editing. And I get it, but this is like a no, because this is just a blatant lie and you're trying to make him look bad. So Lala thinks it's a red flag for Nia at Jasmine and Melissa's wedding to not encourage anybody, Daniel, to come to the after party. That's not a red flag. She just knows how people can influence people. My husband, if people are like, oh, come to the after party, he'd be like, oh, okay. And if Nia just wants to stay in with Danny, and honestly, yes, a little bit of Nia realizes him being around this group isn't positive for this year, whether it's his fault or their fault or whatever. But it's like, I'm just doing the wifely thing or friend thing and getting you away from these people because she knows what will happen. And yeah, if he's drinking at the wedding, they'll poke him and it'll just be a whole thing. But I don't think that's a red flag. That's just Nia wanting to hang out with her husband and keep him out of a situation that I feel like he got into all year, easily just stepping in the mud with these people poking at him. Yeah, but it's like, Lala, sit down with your red flags because you didn't think it was a red flag back in the day for Randall to buy you a Range Rover the second day you met him. So don't talk about red flags with us. Danny admitted he used alcohol to cope with being overwhelmed. And the one thing that made me very upset about part 2 is Jasmine didn't want to hear about Luke, Kristen, Danny, and Nia being overwhelmed as parents. She didn't want to hear it. Danny and Nia have 4 kids. None of their family lives here. And her mom may live here, but she's not here all the time because she doesn't live close to them. But I never hear about his family, so they must just not live here. Yeah, it is overwhelming, Jasmine. And yeah, we can say it is. So I didn't like that at all. And Kristen and Luke went through it a lot because they're first-time parents. They don't have like a lot of help or family here. And it is overwhelming. And we were catching these women 3 months after having kids. They're not like getting it all together. Kristen totally doesn't know what she's doing. And Nia has 3 other kids she has to worry about. And then on top of that, you're filming a show. And while you're filming a show, by the way, everyone's attacking your husband, whether he deserves it or not. It's just a lot. So I hated how Jasmine was like, oh, I don't care. You can't use that as an excuse. Well, it'd be okay if Brittany used Jax being a jerk off as an excuse or something like that. Or Michelle saying, oh, I'm going through my divorce with Jesse. So why is saying you're being overwhelmed as a parent and postpartum not an excuse? I didn't like that at all. Brittany said to Nia that she used to defend Jax all the time because she understands that when you are in a partnership, whether your partner is wrong or not, you should have their back. But then when they start to get like really crazy and ridiculous, that's when it comes back on you. Like that's when Brittany was starting to lose her friendships with like Stassi, because Stassi's like, no, he is just wrong. And I am not letting you say, oh, well, I got to defend my man and it's just got to be okay, Stassi, that we're not coming to your wedding. And it's like, no, it's not. And Stassi called you out on your BS. There's like a unedited or a clip that they didn't put in the show. And it's Brittany saying all this to Nia at the Halloween party. And she's like, I just see similarities in you with me of how I used to do that with Jackson. It's like, well, Jax was like a raging cocaine addict with alcohol that would blow up at people and be crazy. So I think that's different than Danny getting drunk. I'm not saying he's not getting drunk or drinking too much. And they kind of do poke him and he takes the bait. That's really just the end of the story for me. That's what happens. They push him and he's taking the bait. And it's annoying and it's very difficult to not. We've all been there, done that when people poke us. That's just what it is for me. I feel like Lala in Mexico was poking him on purpose because he was drunk. The Halloween party, Jason just happens to hobble over to him, and then Lala and Janet had to go over. It's like, you guys know he's drunk. So having this conversation with him drunk is going to be so different than sober. And it's not fair to him. You're taking advantage. And Lala's like, oh, look, like Janet, you shouldn't have even thrown that cup because his behavior was on a silver platter. Yeah, and you knew that and you took advantage of it. Okay. It's just like when Lala used to be crazy on Vanderpump Rules. It's the same thing. So Lala, I really just honestly want to punch in the face through the TV because she keeps trying to act like her male experience with Randall means every man is awful. And Michelle is really doing this too with Jesse. And that's why Lacey said in the second episode, like the misogyny runs deep in you too. And it shows and you project your hate for your one male experience, even though I feel like Michelle could rack up Bug-Eyed Aaron with that negative experience too. Him and like body shaming her. Basically, it's like, excuse me. No. But it's true. And I know I've said it, but I'll say it again. Does Lala forget that Dr. Dre severely beat up his ex-girlfriend? And that was not okay. But is it because he's Dr. Dre now that you're okay with your friend dating him? Because to me, that's something so bad that would push me away from that person forever. I'm not saying he does that anymore, but that's a bad enough story from your past that I don't think I could ever forget that. So just this whole reunion, it was like Lala was so irritated that anyone else was speaking. Andy would ask Lacey or Danny or Nia a question and she would interrupt them. And they're like, can we please answer Andy? And then the one time for Lacey, she's like, you talk a lot. And it's like, you know what, Lala?
Shut up. Shut up.
Because you talk a lot too. And it's okay when you're talking a lot, but God forbid Andy's directly asking someone else a question. That's why I'm telling you, bring Sheena on next season. You can leave Janet and Lala on if you bring Sheena on. I'm here for that. I want to hear all about why you guys aren't friends anymore because we heard more in this unedited clip also of the reunion that was on Peacock. And Andy said, why don't you and Sheena talk? It can't just be the book stuff. And I totally forgot that she had told their friend about Brock cheating. And then it's like the whole world knew. And this was before the book came out. So it's like, yes, we will eventually hear about it in the book, but you need to either wait, I guess, for the book to drop or for Sheena to tell these people. Like, because you guys were really close, that's not your story to tell Lala, because maybe she should walk around and tell everyone all the stories about Randall, because I know that we can't hear things about Randall because Ocean can't even film. He'll slap a cease and desist. They're teasing Lacey. I want to hear about Randall. I want to hear about everything you deal with because you're too busy worrying about Danny. I know you got a shit ton of shit happening in your life, but you just can't talk about it. So how convenient for you. But I want her to be in the hot seat because he was in the hot seat. She can't be in the hot seat with Randall because it's just not allowed. And I bet we won't even be able to talk about Dr. Dre next season with Michelle with the cease and desist. Who knows? We won't get an appearance from him, but Jesse had a point. Like, you've had her around multiple men and you gave Lacey a hard time, and Lacey's still here. She was dating some guy that she brought her daughter to a showing because she was selling him the house. I mean, it's definitely like do as I say, not as I do with Michelle, with Jesse. And I don't like that. And I definitely behind closed doors think that Michelle is just crazy and jealous and hates them. And Lacey's like, I have it all on tape. I have all the tapes. I have the text messages of you acting a fool. And I believe it. I believe it. She likes to play this like silent type on TV, but no, I think behind closed doors, you're really crazy. Nia said it was so mean to wish that Danny would leave, or she would leave Danny when Lala was on Watch What Happens Live. She's like, my wish is for Danny or Nia to leave Danny. And Kristen was like, that was too far. And I agree. Danny is your cup of tea, Lala. No one's saying you have to marry him. No one's saying you have to be friends with him. But to say that you wish they would get divorced, and Nia's like, the fact that you think we shouldn't go to therapy, work through our issues as a married couple who has 4 children, and your answer is just leave him and have those kids be from a broken home, that's really sad. And I totally agree. Like, Lala divulged some information back in the day when, she was on the Hate Randall train. And the Hulu documentary, her mom and brother were talking about it. They were fighting like cats and dogs before she even got pregnant with Ocean. So don't ask me why she stuck around. You weren't even married yet, and he didn't have a baby yet. So why'd you stay and have a baby with him? I think it's because Lala just wanted to be married to somebody like that. Very shallow. She wanted to be on that private jet with MGK and Megan Fox, like Jax and Katie called out, like, oh, you were too busy doing all this. And yeah, you were. You weren't thinking about, is this a responsible life of a child I'm going to bring into the world? And now that Danny has had like a bad run for 2 years on the show, which a lot was spearheaded by Jax last season, and then this is when I definitely wanted to strangle Lala. He was like, we already know Jax last season was like, I want to take Danny down. She's like, we don't, literally mid-sentence, we don't care about last season. We don't care about Jax. And he's like, you weren't even here last season. And it's like, yeah, damn straight you weren't here last season. And Lala all this season wanted to talk about stuff that happened last season. So how ironic. Danny can't talk about last season for 1 second, but you brought up a story from last season, the whole season.
Shut up. Shut up.
It just really, really was making me irritated. So then they bring up Zach's head injury, and they talk about Lacey joining them on the first cast trip because he was like not letting that head injury bring him down for his birthday. And Michelle is explaining her hurt for Jesse being affectionate towards Lacey, even though literally last year we had to watch you and Bug-Eyed Aaron on the trip, and they were way more affectionate because Lacey even said, Jesse and I like aren't affectionate, and they really aren't. So that's what I mean. It's just Michelle is like, do as I say, not as I do. You're in the wrong. I'm never in the wrong. And Lala is the same damn way. And it's just very annoying. Her, Lala, and Janet could all be gone for me. But like I said, the only way I would keep all of them is if Sheena Shea marches her ass onto that set and get Brock there too. Get him to like dig into them, and I would love it. And then you know what? He'll probably give Lala a hard time. She'll be like, oh, you're awful. You're an awful man. Sheena, you should leave him. And it's like, then we'll really like put the points together of it doesn't matter who it is. You just don't want any man defending their woman. And it's really because, in my opinion, Lala doesn't have a man to defend her, because you know damn well if her and Randall worked out, she would want Randall to be on this cast defending her, yelling at Nia or yelling at Danny in her defense. And she'd be like, that's my man defending me. But when Nia gets in between you and her husband, which I'm sorry, I found inappropriate. You don't like that? If a woman comes and yells at my husband, you know I'm going to get in between them and yell at the woman because it's a woman. I'm going to yell back at the woman. Why are you yelling at my husband? And yeah, was that rude? Danny said, go find your husband. Yeah. But why is it okay for you to be rude to them and them not be rude back? Like I said, it's the do as I say, not as I do. So Janet shares her story that she told Lala. So we got some more insight to her story that when she was 12, she was taken advantage of by someone older. And we don't know the full extent to what it was, but obviously it was sexual harassment. And it was something that obviously should not be done to her, especially at the age of 12. So that is just totally terrible. Janet said that experience has now made her feel very uncomfortable in certain situations in adulthood. And I get it, because we don't know exactly every detail of what happened to her. Like maybe it was someone that was drinking. So when people start drinking, she feels uncomfortable. And I totally get that. And Andy said to Kristen, you know, you at first weren't validating maybe her feelings or her story. And Kristen was like, it's because I had no idea about that story. So then when Lala gave me more insight, of course, I'm putting my non-friendship that I have with Janet aside and really understanding how hurt she was. And maybe if she would have said that from the beginning, which that's the only thing I do agree as well. And I feel like that's what Kristen was saying. Like, if this is why you're giving Danny a hard time, why didn't you say that it's almost been 2 years since this whole situation happened? And then I feel like maybe Kristen would have never even defended Danny at all. And she would have totally just seen Janet, because her and Janet used to be really, really close. They were really close friends. I miss when Janet was more friends with everybody. I feel like she likes being the victim, and that's the difficult part for me to get past with Janet. And honestly, Michelle and Lala Michelle definitely likes to play the victim with Jesse. And Lala likes to defend them because she hates men. That's just really how it looks and how I feel. Like I'll get like a Tamra Judge. That's my opinion. And I'm totally open to other people's opinion. I know some people thought Lala was like great at the reunion and thought it was amazing that she was just like yelling at everyone the whole season. But I just really didn't think it was, because I think, would you have yelled at Jax like that last season? I certainly hope so. But would you have also given Brittany a very hard time too? Like you're giving Nia a hard time about Danny? I don't know. You weren't there last season, but I just feel like certain people, and that's what Zach said, get a pass and then others don't, but everyone's behaving the same. So he feels Brittany and Lala and Janet really lay into Nia, but there was similarities of Brittany defending Jax and no one really like laid into her. And I get it. And Zach has been close with Brittany for a long time. This was like a very big divide between them this season. It's going to be interesting next season seeing how this will all play out, because I feel like Brittany's very upset with how Zach didn't necessarily have her back in her eyes this season. So then Andy brings up when Kristen said, if we're going to talk about Danny's drinking, we should talk about Brittany, Jasmine, and Zach's. She said she felt awful. She cried for 2 days. She's like, I can't even blame it on the alcohol because I wasn't really drinking. But she's like, I think I was just so upset with the situation that, and then, Kristen felt uncomfortable at that lunch because Janet's right there and she hates Janet and they're talking about something and Nia's right there. So it's like uncomfortable for Kristen and Nia that Janet's there, and vice versa for Janet, uncomfortable the two of them are there in a smaller setting during the day when no one's like drunk. And Janet really had no female friends there because it was Jesse was there with them and Tom Schwartz. So, and her husband wasn't there. So they were really trying to get their point across to Janet. And of course, she got up from the table, cried, called Jason, which I hate to. It's like, please sit down and just listen to the whole conversation. And of course, Kristen doesn't hate Brittany, Jasmine. It's actually like, I don't care how much anybody drinks. But I think that's her whole thing. Everyone cares how much Danny drinks, but no one cares about how much everyone else drinks. And then their defense is always, well, they don't act inappropriate and Danny does. Well, I feel like Zach can act inappropriate just because he's not maybe like grabbing someone's butt, which is just a pure joke. He's always like flipping out on people and yelling at them. And that's not okay when you drink. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know where we go from here. This was like definitely a big season of a divide. I can't wait to see how we're going to be divided next season, or how, off camera this time, everyone hanging out together and who is hanging out off camera, because that's how you know the real friends. And I just really would love Sheena to come on. I think that would be amazing. So let's switch gears into Orange County. So Shannon is like complaining about the sounds of an elevator in her room, like just so unbearable and annoying. And Jen switched rooms with Shannon just so she could shut the hell up, even though this is technically quote unquote Jen's trip. But like, who ever knows how true that is? Like, Jen and Ryan do go to Vegas all the time. So I don't know if they take turns picking the location of the trips, but Jen, it's so funny when they're like, this is my trip. It's like, you did not pay for this trip though. So like, maybe you pick the destination and you know your way around Vegas. So you're acting like it's your trip. But I love how they act like they've paid for the trip and it's their trip and they're taking everyone away. But it wouldn't be a show without all the housewives fighting about who gets whose room. It just wouldn't be our housewives or just Bravo in general, because Craigie always made a big stink on Southern Charm. And Shannon, I've heard, is very difficult. So we've heard that from a couple sources. And that disappoints me because I feel like she seems pretty chill on the show compared to some people. And I've heard she's very rude in person. And I don't like that, Shannon. Get that together. But she goes and rents a scooter for Vicki because she has a hurt knee. And I do think the geriatric card is getting annoying between the two of them. They act like they're decrepit all the time. They wobble around like they're going to fall. Well, I got news for Shannon too. If you feel you're that unstable, why are you always wearing like 5-inch wedges or block heels? Now I get she's trying to wear the wedges and the block heels because they give you more support than like a stiletto, but why are you even wearing those in general? Wear a flat if you're that unstable, because you're going to snap your ankle one of these days. And it's just like not funny, the nursing home type vibe. Like, oh, we're old. We're so old. Because I tell you what, the internet isn't digging it. So Vicki, you better get it together. You just got your orange back. So don't ruin it. So the ladies go to the Grand Canyon. I went to the Grand Canyon long ago when I was young. And I went to the Hoover Dam. So sometimes you forget that these things are outside of the casinos and all the stuff in Vegas. But I would be very scared to do the zip lining at the Grand Canyon. But it did look fun when some of them did it. So some of them did the Grand Canyon and some of them just sat and kind of like meditated with the song. They're like, we're not risking our life. And Vicki was like, does everyone have their life insurance policies filled out? And that is so funny on Ultimate Girls Trip. She's like, having everyone fill out these policies. And they're like, in the last episode, oh, how does everyone dirty talk? And they're like, let's dirty talk to Vicki. Like, fill out your life insurance. Like, oh, what's the policy? They're like, we know this is what gets Vicki going. And Vicki is really laying into Carmela. Like, she can't figure out what's happening with her, but she knows something's up. So when they're in the car, she's, asking like why she would just like hire Jen out of nowhere. She thinks that's weird and blah, blah, blah. And like, she has ulterior motives because also the like extravagant gift with Emily just meeting her, like just get her a vibrator and something else. That would be funny. Or I don't know. It's just like, I think she bombed the first gift, first impression on both sides. The vibrator with the expensive bag. Could be friends for 20 years and you're not getting that type of bag. That's overkill. If Heather Dubrow isn't handing out gifts like that, I don't know why you are. That was like trying too hard. You weren't winning points with anyone in this group. Very judgy. But they later all go gambling. And before they do, Shannon talks with Heather and how she's just been feeling lonely lately. And she's like, that's why when you dismiss my feelings, it makes me sad. Or like when I have an issue with all you guys, I can't go home and debrief with someone other than like the dog. And I get it. She doesn't want to call her kids and bother them with this bull crap. This is why we have spouses. Like sometimes my husband's like, ugh, you're venting. And I'm like, yeah, but you're my venter and I'm the ventee and vice versa. Like that's just naturally who you vent to. The husbands or wives always get the brunt of the venting. And I do feel bad for Shannon. Like I feel like even though David's marriage is a train wreck, he's the one that cheated and did Shannon dirty. And he found somebody, had another kid. It's a little, him and the wife are nutty, filing for the divorce all the time. So it's not like she's envious of that relationship, but I think she is just mad that she hasn't found someone. And she was a good wife and she even forgave the cheating, but then it was like, no, it's enough. Goodbye. So Vicki confronts Carmela over blackjack about hiring Jen and then about leaving her kids and all that. And like, you just don't go there with the kids. And the Heather's like, enough, Vicki. We don't go there as a mother and the kids. And I feel like that's what Teresa always says. Like those are off limits. The kids and the mothering is off limits because they're all mothers and they all got kids for the most part. And it's, you just don't go there. But they all go to dinner and Shannon opens up more how she feels lonely. And all the women are like, you just need to put yourself out there. And even Tamara was being really nice to her. And I just have a feeling by the end of the season, Tamara's going to fight again with Shannon. And then I wonder how it's going to become like a thing with Vicki and her fighting too. Because I think Tamara does turn it on for the cameras. And that really makes me irritated because we don't want to see that. I want to see you being like for real. And if you want to like Shannon, because I don't know. It's like if you think she drinks too much, then I don't know. Just be like, Shannon, I love you, but like when you're drunk, don't call me. And then she probably won't, she'll take you off that emergency contact list or her favorites. She'll delete you from the top 10 in MySpace. Do we remember when we had that on MySpace for my younger millennial listeners? I mean, you'd be like mad at a friend. You'd be like, you're not in my top 10 anymore. I mean, what cutthroat business was that too? To do like the top 10? My MySpace is definitely still floating around because I never deleted it. So it's just like out in the universe with my Hello Kitty background and like cute is what we aim for song. Cause you could pick like a song on your page. Like, oh my gosh, the past. When I took my girls school shopping, it was like 90s style. It's really funny how it's like recirculated and come back and the style. It was like the cargo pants and they're like more wide leg and this shirt. If you remember, we wore the long sleeve shirt and then a short sleeve shirt over top, like the layering. Now they make them like a 2-in-1. So there is no layering. It's just already one, that style. And I'm like, oh my God, I totally used to wear these. And my daughters would thrive in limited too. I loved limited too. We need to bring it back for the millennials that have the children that we shopped at limited too. We need limited 2 2.0. And speaking of 2.0, for my Jersey Shore listeners out there, one of my friends won to be a guest on my podcast at my raffle during my watch party, but she does not watch Bravo, but she loves Jersey Shore. So we will be having her on and we will recap the current season of Jersey Shore. We could talk about some old fun, like past memories of Jersey Shore, but I still watch current Jersey Shore and so does she. And we love our Jersey Shore just in general, going down the Jersey Shore. I can't wait we'll have like a special, that'll be like a bonus episode that will just cover Jersey Shore and talk about it. And I like just still love watching that show because it came out when I was in college. So I feel like I've grown up with them and now they're like in the second phase. Like they were like partying like I was, but now their parents are getting married or having kids. And I'm like, yes, I love that. So I still like to watch it. The situation's a hoot. Snooki's always a good time. Sam is back and Ron is there. So that's like interesting seeing them together. But yeah, I can't wait. We will do that in the fall, like maybe in later September when the kids are back in school and we're getting our life together. But as always, you can find me at Bravo T with the Stay at Home Mom on Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, Apple, everywhere you get your podcasts. And enjoy the rest of your summer, guys. It is dwindling down. Like we are almost back into pumpkin spice season.